that's a major spoiler.
It's when you get the Master Sword.
Ooh, the Master Sword.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that will come into play like as you advance the story. So you'll hear 3 different completely unique pieces of music as you go through.
Let me see. Are we going to be releasing an official soundtrack? No, sorry. I'm pretty sure there's no plans for that. I don't know. Maybe there is, guys.
We're actually looking into that right now.
Oh, sweet.
That's a
That's
topic
brand
for
new.
today.
That's
Yeah.
brand new to me. So.
Yeah, it is.
If
it
I
was
have
brand
anything
new.
to do with it, yes.
Okay. So.
Unfortunately, it's not our decision, so we have to convince the powers that be that it's
But
worth it.
Right now, we're trying for it. So,
Most other games these days are getting them, so it's looking good for us.
do they still have music stuff, or is it voice stuff, or sound stuff?
It's all a cappella
All music stuff.
arrangements of all the games.
Yeah.
Okay. They wanted to ask about the sounds for the weapons in Red Faction Guerrilla. So let's talk about the weapons, and then let's also talk about the vehicles as well.
Okay. One of the aspects about the weapons that was immediately apparent to us is that we could have a lot of liberty. It's a sci-fi game, so it's not just your traditional military type sounds, which is always fun as a sound designer to be able to kind of pull out different aspects of futuristic elements. The other angle is these are all from the miner's point of view in makeshift tools, mining tools that have been modified to become weapons. So therein also gave us a lot of liberty, a creative liberty.
IEDs.
Yes. We went into great lengths to pull the player into the world with different types of distant cues. So explosions, gunfire, whatnot are playing completely different samples if they're, 150 feet away from you versus within your proximity.
Yeah, we fade between them.
Right.
I was going to also mention that this is another area, the weapons are another area where we had a whole bunch of people with their hands on them. Like we had 4 different people making weapons.
Yeah.
And that's almost as serious as with the music where you had six different composers working on it. Every sound designer, believe it or not, a gun doesn't just sound like a gun. We all have our own styles, our own way of EQing stuff to make it, give it our signature, right? So then you could pick up 2 different guns and hear 2 completely different sounds that don't fit together. So we had to do a lot of collaboration, and Dan would come in and say, "Wait, this sounds like it's being fired underwater. What's going on?" And I'd be like, "Wait, no, I'll tighten that up." So there was a lot of back and forth critique to try to get the weapon sounding consistent between different weapons.
Okay. Here's an interesting question from everybody. How did you get the recordings for all the destruction? All the buildings toppling over, glass breaking. Did you demolish any actual buildings?
Yeah, I can take that one. We had wanted to, but what we ended up doing is we went through our extensive sound effects library and took a lot of that information from there, a lot of those sound effects from those banks. The really fun thing about destruction was we had a big challenge with the system because you can destroy anything. So one of the things we ended up doing is making sure to differentiate between what type, what shape the metal was breaking into, so poles sound different from solid chunks of metal. We looked at the size of it, so if you have a big piece of concrete break as opposed to a small piece of concrete hitting the ground, those are going to sound different. We had to make sure that every little piece that could fall apart had the correct audio associated with it. And we spent a lot of time going through our banks making sure that we had that.
Once we do the mission.
To do this job right, pay attention to your surroundings and use what's in front of you. Oh, and make sure you're out of the blast radius.
This seems like a good question because I'm actually curious about this as well. Did you guys actually hit somebody with a sledgehammer in order to get that crunch effect when you smack it into somebody?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you look real close, you can see the stitch marks. We recorded Kate beating her head against the wall sometimes.
Yeah, that was
It's pretty common occurrence.
Us audio guys, we have to bargain for just about everything with programmers.
Yeah, we take turns with the melee impacts. So.
Yeah. Yeah, see, the thing about